WATD presents John Paul, the Car Doctor. All things automotive. Have questions? Call 781-837-4900. Now, here's John Paul, the Car Doctor.
And good Sunday morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD. Jesse is in the brand new studio, so we still have a few kinks to work out, I understand. So it's all the same for me. I don't notice, but Jesse, you sound fabulous this morning.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I figured I'd play your outro, and maybe that's the most that they would allow on iTunes and Spotify this week.
Yes, if you listen to the podcast on Spotify or iTunes, last week the program was flagged for improper use of artificial intelligence. Jesse was creative enough to use an AI program to make a song, and apparently Spotify and iTunes don't like it. So I removed the song, reposted it. Apparently they still don't like it. So there's something to work out still. So I don't.
You know what it must be is the thing is we didn't rule this out is maybe you're too smart and it thinks that it must be AI that's coming up with all these facts about cars. Maybe that had nothing to do with the song. Maybe it's your fault for being just too smart.
I don't think so, but we'll go with that. That sounds fine. Hey, speaking of being smart, we have we talk about electric cars a lot on this program. We talk about everything. And somebody wrote to me in one of my newspaper columns and said, I don't quite understand. 1 minute you like electric cars, 1 minute you're talking about 700 horsepower. What's the deal with you? And I'm like, I like anything that moves pretty much. So if it's electric, that's good. If it's got horsepower, that's good. If it's gets 50 miles per gallon, that's good. You found me out. I like everything with wheels on it pretty much. But electric vehicle development, especially as businesses are adapting more and more to it, there's sometimes those businesses can use a little bit of help. And with us is Aaron Schneider. He is the business development director for Ford Charging. Aaron, good morning and welcome to the Car Doctor program.
Hi, John. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you.
And I know you're calling from, I think it's Nevada, but you're no stranger to Massachusetts, right?
That's correct. I went to college out in Waltham at Brandeis University. Spent a number of years working in downtown Boston as well for a company called Enernoc, a proud kind of Boston-based company down at 101 Federal, and had the pleasure of going to Fenway, seeing Pedro pitch, going to the Garden and watching Pierce and KG and the rest of the team. And absolutely love Boston. And at a certain point in my life, I kind of took the old advice of go west, young man, and went through San Francisco and then ended up in Reno after meeting a great girl who became my wife, who's originally from Reno.
There you go. You're right now. Electric vehicles are, when it comes to commercial, it's a little bit unique. My daytime job is I work for the AAA Auto Club. We have 36 Ford Lightnings kind of scattered throughout our AAA area here in the Northeast. And it sounds like maybe we should have called you first because you can help us. You help companies come up with the best plan on how to kind of maximize their investment with EVs, right?
That's correct. That's correct. When you look at EVs, and first of all, thank you for your business. We really appreciate it on the F-150 Lightnings and love the product. I'm guessing you guys do too. But when you look at EVs, what's interesting is you also have to wrap in the fueling infrastructure. And for commercial businesses, Ford took the step of creating and investing and developing a ton of resources to support all of our commercial and government customers to help them get the charging infrastructure that they need. And there's a ton of great incentives out there at the state, local, and even federal level. And we've built a ton of resources to support those customers. And then recently, we actually announced a new bundle specifically for Massachusetts customers, where we are offering them free, high-powered Level 2 chargers. So we could offer those to, your business as you expand. John, we'd be happy to help you with that. And then also, when we set that up for our customers, we actually automate the scheduling of the chargers to shift charging off-peak to save our customers a ton of money. We do all of that, all the heavy lifting ourselves. So it essentially becomes set it and forget it. You get back to the depot, you plug it in, you walk away, you go out, to dinner, you go home to your family. We take care of the rest, and at the end of the day, we're hoping that we reduce that upfront cost on the fueling side while also saving you a ton of money on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, it is interesting, and I mean we run our Lightnings typically 2 shifts, and we're using a combination of level 2 and level 3 charging because sometimes we do what we lovingly refer to as a hot swap, where truck comes in, sitting there getting charged for 20 or 30 minutes. New driver gets in and they're off for another 8-hour shift or so. But the idea of, I look at this as, more traditional, 7 to 5 sort of business. It could be somebody who has a delivery service, or somebody has, a plumbing company and has techs out on the road. And they're, as you pointed out, you use the vehicle, and then at the end of the day, at the end of the shift, whatever it is, you plug it in, it does its magic when the power rates get more affordable, and then the next morning it's all charged up, essentially a full tank of fuel, and you're ready to go again.
That's exactly right. And I would say most customers fit what you just described. AAA may be unique with your 2 shifts and basically running 24/7 to help different folks who are maybe stranded on the road. So you guys are kind of unique. You may or may not actually be a fit for our new Smart Charge bundle, but I would say most customers in Massachusetts are kind of what you just described. And what we're offering now is they can get a free charger. The value there is like $2,000 discount, essentially free up front. And then we set everything else up for them so that it's truly, set it and forget it, and they're happy and they're saving money. And when they show up the next day, our CEO of Ford Pro, he likes to say, plumbers want to plumb, roofers want a roof. They don't want to worry about whether or not their gas tank is full or their battery is full.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense, and the idea that we'll back up to electric cars in general. Some people talk about them and they're like, oh, it's I'm used to going to the gas station. I'm used to doing this, and most people ride around with a quarter of a tank of fuel in their car, and run out of fuel because about 800,000 times a year we go out and rescue people that ran out of gas. Electric vehicles, on the other hand, you typically you plug them in at night, and in the morning they're full, which is not the case with a lot of even delivery vehicles, and like you said, a plumbing shop that has 4 or 5 service techs out there. You get in the truck some morning and go, oh, Jimmy never filled it up last night, but this way you're going to start the day fully charged and ready to go.
Exactly, and that's one of the things we really care about over at Ford Pro, is just making sure our customers are always ready to go to operate their business. That's where they make money, and the vehicle is just a vessel to do that. And it's really interesting. I've been in kind of the grid space, the clean tech space, the charging space for probably a decade plus now. And I've been driving an EV myself for quite some time as well. And it's really almost a change in behavior from, that model of, a quick fill up at the gas station to just kind of the top off. You always just kind of plug it in when you see a spot. So in this case, you just get back to your office, you plug it in and you go about your day, and you don't have to worry about, that quarter tank situation that you guys are so familiar with at AAA.
And it's not just the Lightnings, it's the Transit, and probably to some extent the Mach-E, right?
That's correct. And then what's really interesting about the Ford Pro charging business is we're designed to also serve, multi-make fleets. We're no stranger to the fleet business at Ford, and we understand. We prefer, we love when everybody goes all in on Ford and runs a full Ford fleet. But in many cases, folks are also buying different electric vehicles. Maybe there's a specific use case we for some reason don't have. But our charging solution is designed to support multi-make across, the auto industry. So whether you're running a full Ford fleet or a mixed Ford fleet from an electric vehicle standpoint, we are ready and able and here to support you.
And the you pointed out that you sort of, you're ready to support all fleets. Does it have to be, when I think of commercial business, I think of pickup trucks and vans, but could it be a fleet of Mach-E's?
Absolutely. We definitely see some customers, you've got like pharmaceutical reps who are doing, jobs on the road, they're traveling, and we are seeing more and more adoption in that space as well. So I think the Mach-E certainly has its place for a specific set of customers as well.
And when we talk about fleets, how big does a fleet have to be able to work with Ford Pro to be able to take advantage of the free charging installation?
So it could be a fleet of one, right? It could just be, a local electrician who's running his business and has decided to buy a Lightning to run his business and kind of, walk the walk, if you will.
Yep.
And so it could be a business of one. It could be a business that, has, 1,000 vehicles. We are set up. We've got a variety of different folks, both in sales and service, to ensure that we're helping out that customer keep their business up and running and maximizing their productivity while leveraging, our fantastic vehicles and charging solutions.
And are your chargers set up for the new, I guess, what's called North American standard now, the Tesla-style plug?
That's an interesting one. I'd refer back to some of our different press releases and media releases on that topic. But for the most part, we're not seeing any particular issues, especially on the depot side, to fuel our customers up.
Perfect. And if people who are listening want to get more information about how they can work with Ford Pro and how they can work with all of your folks to be able to take advantage of this, and again, kind of give us a little rundown about, okay, I'm, I have an HVAC company. I have 3 people on the road and myself. So we have, we're thinking about 4 trucks to go electric. Where do we start?
Yeah, so I would say, first things first, you can reach out to Ford directly. We have an entire team set up to help walk through what does your route schedule look like, what do your business operations look like, what's the right vehicle, right? You've also got our dealership network as well. But on the charging side, what we would do is meet with the customer, talk about their routes, talk about their schedule, and we want to make sure that they're fit for this program, right? Because if they're like you and running 24/7, maybe it's not necessarily the right fit. Most customers we think would be a fit, and then we would put together the right solution, the right charging solution. There's different speeds of chargers. There's different kind of electricity requirements that go into that. So we would go through all of that, help them figure out the right way to do the installation as well, the electrical construction that's needed. And in fact, there are even, as I mentioned at the start, there's some state, local, utility, and federal incentives. And we've got resources where we just need to know, how many vehicles are you thinking about electrifying? What's their location? What's their zip code? You want the level 2 chargers, which are kind of the overnight chargers we've been talking about. You want some fast chargers as well. We'll look at that whole thing and then put together a package for you to show you what your end cost would be after buying the full package and after all of the great incentives that are out there. So what we're seeing is a tremendous way to save customers a ton of money on the full electrical infrastructure that's required to go EV. So I guess the starting point I would say is, folks can Google just like Ford Pro Smart Charge Bundle. You'll see the announcement we made several weeks ago on this. You can click a link in there and just, submit your information, and somebody on our team will follow up with you. I also will invite folks, if they'd like to look me up on LinkedIn, they can shoot me a message that way. Say, hey, Aaron, I heard you on the Car Doctor. Love the conversation. Can you connect me with some of the local resources to talk about, our fleet's plan to go electric, and I'll get you connected with the right folks as well.
And in my fictitious HVAC company, one of my employees he's on call overnight, and he takes his F-150 Lightning home at night. Would this allow for home installation too?
That's correct. We do a ton of take-home. We call it take-home fleets. A ton of our business, what we've seen over the past several years, are exactly the scenario that you described, and we've built an entire solution to take care of all the different administrative and kind of paperwork pieces to enable companies to allow their employees to take their electric vehicles home, charge them. We've got a way to figure out the reimbursement, the charging, moving them off peak, all the good stuff I've talked about. We do that both at the depot, but also on a take-home basis too.
No, it sounds fantastic. And again, for people that are looking as an alternative to gasoline, and electric can work out perfectly depending on how it's used. And I know, with our business, again, we have the 35 or 36 Lightnings that we use. We've kind of gotten away from diesel because of exhaust emissions and switched over to gasoline in a lot of cases. And in the next 6 years, we want to try to have as much of our light service fleet to be electric or at least zero emissions of some sort by 2030. We kind of put that as a goal, and I think a lot of other companies are sort of doing the same thing. I was talking with someone not long ago who had a moving company, and they decided they were going to build an electric moving van so they could sit in the city. You don't have to worry about pollution. The van probably goes 40 or 50 miles a day because it's inner city moves. Electric vehicle works out perfectly for them. So again, depending on the business, depending on what works for you, where you can charge, and the idea that the take-home fleet, well, there's an answer to a lot of people that have whether it's plumbing companies, electrical, HVAC, or just somebody who works at the company that takes a car home at night. That's a great alternative.
100%, and I think my main message is we're here to make it easy, to make it simple for the customers. We're in it for the long haul as well. And we love to help folks out and help them take advantage of. There's just so many incentive dollars that are out there, and we've been doing this for quite some time, and we think we've got a good process to help folks go through it. And we also want to make sure, right, that it's the right fit for them too, because we still have a great set of combustion engine vehicles and hybrid vehicles as well. So more often than not, electric is a fit, but when it's not, we certainly have some great options too.
Yeah, it really sounds it. So real simple, just go to FordPro.com. You can read all about, everything from some of the incentive packages that are available. I just clicked on it now just to check, and it says, special savings up to $7,500 customer cash on the E-Transit, the Transit van, which is a very popular van, and even something that not your expertise, but on the Ford Pro website, you'll work with companies for telematics and data services, and kind of get to know everything about the vehicle, including dash cams to help protect both your employees and other vehicles on the road at the same time. So you guys got a lot of stuff going on that Ford Pro website.
That's right, John. That's right. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, we our goal is to be a one-stop shop for our customers. And, all the things you mentioned, you can get all of those at Ford. And ideally, right, then it's just for a customer. Hey, most of the time things are going to go really, really well. But every now and then, as you know, and I'm sure your listeners know, things do go sideways. And it's always easier to know that you can just call, right, one company that has all of the solutions, and they're going to sort it out because it's all of their products, as opposed to, calling up, one guy for charging and another gal for your telematics and another person for the vehicle, and on down the road. We just want to make it super easy, super simple for the customer. And everything we're doing is about uptime, making sure that vehicle's up, running, and you can go about your day making, your business run effectively and efficiently, and producing the goods and services that drive your bottom line.
Perfect. So FordPro.com is the way to go. Aaron, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your Sunday morning. I know you maybe had to get up a little bit early, so maybe you can stretch out the day a little bit more.
Thanks, Chad. I appreciate it. The kids were up bright and early, and we're going to head up to Lake Tahoe and enjoy the day. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and go Sox.
All right. Hey, Aaron, thanks so much. That was Aaron Schneider. He's Business Development Director for Ford Charging. Why don't we take a break, pay some bills? My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. And since we're in the new studio, why don't we try to break the phones? It's a little bit of a learning curve. So give us a call at 781-837-4900. Call in. Let's see if we disconnect you. Let's see if you can hear us on hold. I don't know. Or else everything just, we let the smoke out of it and it all breaks. I don't know. One way or the other. But you're listening to the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD. We'll be right back.
Start your Sunday off right with brunch at the Old Hitching Post in Hanson. The Old Hitching Post offers a full buffet brunch every Sunday from 10 to 1. Fill up on all your favorites like eggs and bacon, sausage, home fries, French toast casserole, mac and cheese, homemade hash, fresh seafood, rice, veggies, fresh fruit, quiche, yogurt parfaits, pastries, ham, omelets, eggs Benedict, and more. The Old Hitching Post Sunday brunch from 10 to 1 at 48 Spring Street, Route 58 in Hanson. Online at oldhp.com. That's OLDEHP.com.
AAA is with you at every moment in your life. They have 24-hour-7 roadside assistance, which covers you in any car you're driving or riding in, even a rental or your friend's wheels. They have great member rates on home and auto insurance, savings on travel, hotels, and rental cars, and discounts on hundreds of your favorite brands. You're covered on and off the road. Learn more at aaa.com/join.
You let that mountain reach high. You let that river run wide.
Hi, this is Jeff Neely.
And this is Joe Clapp.
And I'm Stephen Davis.
We're Humble Roots. Tune into Twilight Showcase Radio.
Hosted by Sandy Stride and Keith James.
On 95.9 WATD and 95.9WATD.com.
And of course, visit twilightshowcase.org.
Twilight Showcase. Tonight from 8 to 10 on 95.9 WATD. Make an appointment Sunday morning at 11 for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on 95.9 WATD. Now, back to the Car Doctor.
Welcome back to the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD. Give us a call at 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900, and like I said, let's see if the new phone system works. That's we can try that out and see what happens. Couple things that I am testing, and I've mentioned this before, that companies will send me products from time to time, and one of them I just received was a portable air compressor, and I carry a portable air compressor in my car. It's one of those things that, I always think it's important to be able to, if you are worried about getting a flat tire somewhere, and there's all different kinds of air compressors. I have one that is, the one I have is hooks into either the cigarette lighter or something like that. There's all these different kinds, but this one is a little bit unique, and it's from a company called Wolfbox, which just sounds sort of weird in itself. But what's interesting about it is it's I'm trying to describe how big it is. It's probably 10 inches tall by 3.5 inches square. It's fully self-contained. It has a rechargeable battery in it. It's a pretty high airflow. They claim that you can inflate up to 35-inch tires, so RVs, SUVs, off-road vehicles. So if you're somebody who goes off-road in your Jeep and you let the air out of the tires and you pump them back up, it can do that. It's got a really big. It's got a 12,000 milliamp hour battery in it, so it's a pretty impressive battery. The portable air compressor I had previously was from, and still have, is from a company called Works, and also testing one of their products coming up too. But the Works one uses the 20-volt power share battery that my weed whacker uses and my leaf blower uses, and it's not very big. And it's nice because I typically always have a charged battery ready to go, and that's what is sitting on a shelf in Florida, and it's a nice little air compressor. So the Wolfbox people, which is the name of the company, WOLFBOX, people said, "Do you want to test out this?" And it's a self-contained unit. It has a 20-inch air hose. I almost wish it was just a smidge longer, but it has a 20-inch air hose. And you can plug it in. You can use it kind of like a regular one with the 12-volt DC cord, or you can use the built-in battery. So you can plug it into your cigarette lighter and plug it into the unit, and you can go around the car that way, or you can use it just as a standalone. To try it out, I went out to one car here, one of our cars, and I let the air out of the tire and said, let's see how long it takes to pump it back up. And, a couple minutes, and it was pumped back up. What was nice about it is it has a big digital display, and you sort of set the pressure you want, and it tells you how much air is in the tire. And this is pretty typical of most of these style compressors. It has kind of a screw-on hose, so you screw it onto the valve, and it seems time-consuming to do that. I like the kind more that you press down over the valve and it has like a little lever that locks it down. It seems to be with that style, you're letting less air out of the tire than the one that screws on and screws off. But other than that, it's fine. It's relatively quiet. I like the idea it doesn't take up a whole lot of room. It has. It says you can charge the compressor battery, those 12,000 milliamp hour battery, in just an hour, so that makes it pretty nice. The gauge, and I'm always suspicious about built-in gauges, so it's really pretty accurate. I tested the air pressure when I looked at the air pressure in the tire when it was full, hooked the compressor up, hooked up let the air out of the tire down to about 5 pounds, checked with my two different gauges, a dial-style gauge and a regular pencil-style gauge. Both said had about 5 pounds of air in it. Hooked this up, it said it had 5 pounds of air in it. So the gauge reading's pretty accurate. And then I used it to go around to all the tires in the car just to check the tire pressure. Again, pretty accurate all the way around. Really kind of nice. It seemed to really do everything it's supposed to do. And I think, looking at it, it may even do a little bit more than I thought, because looking at it, it appears that you can also use the built-in battery in it to charge up your cell phone. So you can plug into that and charge up your cell phone. It does use the mini USB-C style connector, which, why did we need that? Well, I know it's what they use in Europe, but the other thing that's kind of nice is, too, it has settings for bike tires, truck tires, car tires, so you kind of click through the menu. Menu's bright, it's easy to read. I don't need glasses to use it, so that's kind of nice. It tells you the battery voltage, in the, how much battery is in the built-in category. So if you're interested in one, you can go to wolfbox.com, I guess, WOLFBOX.com, or if you look up Wolfbox air compressor, they're all over Amazon, like everything is these days, so you can take a look. But and the company has other stuff too, but it's a neat little air compressor. So there you go, Wolfbox air compressor. So not to be confused with Wolf Fox. So it's Wolfbox, WOLFBOX is how you can find out more information about it. And it's again, neat little unit that seems to do everything it's supposed to do. So check it out. How much is it? It is about $100 on eBay. I mean, not eBay. Is it eBay? Yeah, I happen to be on eBay right now, and it's 150 PSI air compressor, inflates cars, motorbikes, tires. This is just somebody who happened, when I Googled it, there's somebody who happened to have it. But, my notes are, from me playing around with it, worked pretty well. So you can check it out. Check out everything else they have. It comes in a little zippered case, which is kind of nice, so it stays all together. In the zippered case, there's that long cord that plugs into the cigarette lighter. There's the USB Mini-C connector, and there's the different style. If you're inflating a football, and then the little tiny air valve connectors for some of the European style valves that we're starting to see, and a spare fuse just in case you pop a fuse. So there you go, Wolfbox air compressor, and claims to be 150 psi. Nothing I have is going to get 150 psi of air in it. So there you go. If you want to join us and test out our phones, 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900 is how you do that. And you can check in with Jesse, and he'll let you know what's going on. We think the phones work. We'll have to wait and see how they work. Let's talk about some of the questions that came in this week. We had a bunch of them that came in, and always interesting to see. And one of them, I got a comment from somebody, and it was a really good idea. Somebody wanted to know about donating a vehicle. They have a car that doesn't run anymore. They want to know about donating it. And the rules have changed on that a lot. You used to be able to deduct on your taxes the value of the car, and most people they would call me up and they'd say, hey, what's the value of my 2012 Ford Taurus? And I'd look it up in the NADA guidebook and tell them it's worth whatever, $3,500, then they deduct $3,500 on the taxes. You can't do that anymore. You can only deduct a maximum of $500 unless you have the car appraised prior to getting rid of it. Then you can say, well, the vehicle has this value based on an actual appraisal. Most people aren't going to do that, and frankly, most people that get rid of cars, they're pretty worn out anyway, and they don't have a lot of value. But some still do. Some still have some value. Some can be repaired. Some can be just sold for scrap. Salvage value of a vehicle can be, a couple $100 to $500, depending on how much it weighs and the price of scrap metal. But I always recommend, check with the folks at the Lars Anderson Auto Museum, for instance, because they will take donations of vehicles, and sometimes the donations are crazy nice. Other times they're just sort of old cars that people want to get rid of, and the museum takes them in, and either they scrap them or try to get them going. And if they get them going, they have volunteers that work on them, and then they sell them, and the money goes back to the museum, for instance. So that's one way. If it's a later model within 10 years, local Votech school might take them. Votech schools are always looking for training vehicles, so things they can take apart and put back together, especially with the first-year students, so they can take an old car apart, see how it's used, but also get used to using hand tools, so that's a good thing to do. And then the Car Donation Wizard. That's a company out of Rhode Island. It's actually sort of in a way sort of a marketing logistics company, but they started a company where what they do is they handle all of vehicle salvage, and it's not a junkyard. They don't have a junkyard. But if you wanted to donate a car and you wanted to first off make sure it's a real charity and not kind of a fake charity, you go on their website, Car Donation Wizard, you tell them what you have, you look at their list of approved donation sites, you pick what you want, and they do all the work for you. They process the paperwork, they work with you with the title. If you've lost the title, they can help you with that. So Car Donation Wizard is a good way to do it. And the other thing I try to tell people is, donate to what you like. If you're somebody who, is a veteran, donate to a veterans organization. If you're somebody who, if it's a public radio, donate to them. If you're somebody who, wants to feed hungry kids, donate to them. So there's all these different options you can do to try to, get rid of your car. But the one comment from a reader was, talk to your local fire department. The local fire department sometimes will take a car and sort of at their leisure, they get to practice with it. So they get to use the jaws of life to cut it apart. Look for electrical issues that could come up. This guy was a former firefighter, I think, for 40 years. And he said, we would get donations periodically. People would bring them in. And it really let us kind of on our own time. So without having a set up training we got the car from one place, all of a sudden now we have this vehicle and we can kind of disassemble it, and also maybe practice how to get with the paramedics, how to get somebody out of the vehicle that's been damaged. So that's a possibility too. So look into your local fire department to do that. So good way to do it. Our phone number, 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900, and we have Tom from Kingston. Tom, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Test 1, 2, 3. We're testing the phones.
Yeah. And could you hear us on hold?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, look at that.
Last week when I called, I could not. But this week, yes.
See, this is the new studio. This is all the new magic.
Oh, that's right, too.
Yeah, so
Are you in the studio?
I am not.
Okay.
One of these days in the fall, probably, I might come up and hang out with Jesse in the studio, because leaving Cape Cod on a Sunday morning, not in the summertime, not a good idea. Unless I want to sit in traffic, if I really want to sit in traffic, it's fine. But I'd prefer not to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. How long can you keep your foot on the brake pedal? Exactly. Hey, I got a little story to tell you about getting rid of a car.
Okay.
You want to get rid of a car that's junk. This lady, friend of ours, had a car, a 2007, I don't know, it was a Hyundai or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they called the local junkyards down in Brockton. They said $300 if you bring it down. They said, what if you come pick it up? It's $300. $300 no matter what. I found out about this company called Pedal, P as in Paul, E, D as in David, D as in David, L-E.
Okay.
And you go in there and you put in the information they want about the vehicle. I was able to get her over $1,000. I think it was like $1,100 or $1,200 for the same vehicle.
Really?
Yeah. Then the guy came down to tow it, gave her the $400 cash and the rest in a check. You know what company came to pick it up? One of the junkyards from Brockton. Couldn't believe it. And I've had probably, without exaggerating, 5 or 6 cars. I I got rid of that way and got people more money than they would if it was just the $300 from the junkyard.
Huh.
So I recommend to the people listening audience, check out that website if you're going to junk a car, because the lady said the transmission's no good and the brakes are no good, and she wasn't going to put the money into it anymore.
Yeah, I was just, and it's pretty easy. They, if it's still, and I was slowly typing PEDDLE.com while you were talking.
Yep.
Because I have never heard of it, and you can go in and you can put your make and model a car right in there, and
they'll ask you, is the glass there? All the questions. Is get air in the tires, and all the simple questions like that. Is any damage done to like left fender or the right door or whatever it is, and you just fill in the information, and then they come back with a price. And within a couple of days, it's out there to get it out of your yard.
It's
very dependable, reliable, and, like I said, better than giving it just to the junkyard.
Yeah. No, it's there is. Yeah, it looks like there's. It asks you things like, is it paid off? Is it, you're still making payments?
Is it clean title?
Yeah.
Right. Things like that. Right.
No, I've never heard of it. Thanks for letting us know. That's
like I said. There's not one person that was disappointed. They called me back and said, I can't believe how much it is. I said, well, how much you want for that, Tom? And I said, hey, you owe me a cup of coffee. And in fact, we're going to make a large cup. How's that?
Yeah. And what's nice is apparently they actually have a human you can talk to. You can call them and actually, find out, talk to somebody if you'd rather do that than that. No, good idea. I'm going to have to maybe I'll see about trying to get them on the show someday, so talk about it, because this is a pretty good thing that
I was shocked how much money the person got.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best stories. A lot of them are like $900. This guy had a pickup truck they want to get rid of, and because he didn't describe it right, they want to know about the size of the bed.
Yeah.
Whether it be 6 foot, 8 foot, whatever it was. And he thought it was a 6 foot, but it wasn't a 6 foot, it was an 8 foot. So originally he was going to get $900 for it, and then when they came out and they said, no, this is only a 6 foot, whatever it was. And they said, we can only give you $650 for it. And it's like still better than the $300 that he was going to get from the junkyard.
Yeah, no, that's because most of the time they just go by, scrap steel is $100 a ton. So that's kind of what they go by. So this is really good. Thanks for letting us know.
All right, that's my story. I'm going to stick to it, and I'm glad the phones are working.
There you go. Perfect. All right, thanks, Tom.
Stay cool this week.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. Why don't we take another break? My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. When we come back, I went to someplace I've never been before. I went to the Audrain Auto Museum down in Newport. We'll talk about that when we get back. My name's John Paul. This is the Car Doctor. You're listening on 95.9 WATD.
AAA is with you at every moment in your life. They have 24/7 roadside assistance, which covers you in any car you're driving or riding in, even a rental or your friend's wheels. They have great member rates on home and auto insurance, savings on travel, hotels, and rental cars, and discounts on hundreds of your favorite brands. You're covered on and off the road. Learn more at aaa.com/join.
Start your Sunday off right with brunch at the Old Hitching Post in Hanson. The Old Hitching Post offers a full buffet brunch every Sunday from 10 to 1. Fill up on all your favorites like eggs and bacon, sausage, home fries, French toast casserole, mac and cheese, homemade hash, fresh seafood, rice, veggies, fresh fruit, quiche, yogurt parfaits, pastries, ham, omelets, eggs Benedict, and more. The Old Hitching Post Sunday brunch from 10 to 1 at 48 Spring Street, Route 58 in Hanson. Online at oldhp.com. That's oldehp.com.
Hey there, folks. It's Quinn Kelly reminding you to tune in Sunday night at 5 for the South Shore's first voice in sports talk radio, The Sports Exchange. Unmatched coverage of local high school action as well as a relatable voice on all things Boston Pro Sports. We've got you covered live at 5 every Sunday night. Have a question for our host, missed last week's show, or just want to share a great sports story? You can find us on Twitter at SE on WATD. But remember, mark your calendar, folks, and we'll see you Sunday night at 5 for the Sports Exchange on 95.9 WATD.
Make an appointment Sunday morning at 11 for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on 95.9 WATD. Now, back to the Car Doctor.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD. Let's go, before I tell my odd range story, we'll save that for the end. Let's go to Dick in Plymouth. Dick, good morning.
Are you there, John?
I am.
Okay. I didn't hear you say Dick. It made a noise when you said Dick. You're coming in good. On hold, I can hear you.
Good.
And I carry an air compressor in my Subaru, and I carry an electric one in the truck. And in my truck, I got a 1-ton Ram diesel. On the cross member where the transfer case is located, I installed a 2-gallon tank and another compressor, and I carry a 60-foot hose with me so I could blow up my RV when I go to Florida. I go to Florida January, February, and March. And in 2008, I went to a cruise, and there was a guy that owns an aluminum business in Crystal River, Florida, and he has a tea bucket. And he had a flat tire, and he was scratching his head. You know, you don't have a spare with that. And he was away from home. So I also carry a repair kit, a plug kit. So I plugged this tire up and blew it up for him. And the plug is still in there since 2008. I see him every year I go down. I saw him this year.
Yeah, I care. Even though I'm not a fan of plug-in tires because, you know, it's considered a temporary repair. You know, we have 3 cars in the family. All 3 cars have plug kits in them. All 3 cars have air compressors in them. So just for all the same reasons you said, you know, I used to have a plug kit, and I used to keep it, you know, in a toolbox somewhere. And I'm like, well, that's dumb. Why don't I keep it in the car where I'm going to actually use it? My other question with this 2-gallon air tank that you mounted under your truck, do you have it hooked up to like a train horn or anything?
Yes, I do. I do have a set of air horns by the number plate, back of the number plate behind the bumper.
There you go. Well, you got all the air. You might as well make a lot of noise with it, right?
Oh yeah. If I'm towing an RV and I got to blow the horn, I want somebody to hear it.
That sounds like they would. Hey, Dick, thanks.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Hey, Dick, thanks for the tip.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. Let's go over to Rusty in Woburn. Rusty, good morning.
Hey, John Paul, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I'll make this really quick. I'm the gentleman that called in with that Toyota story about the paint falling apart.
Oh, yeah.
Car.
Yep.
So get this. I got into a hit-and-run accident 2 weeks ago, and thank God for the camera and the traffic light. That's what saved me from, you know, having to go through the headache. But thank God there was another passenger in the hit-and-run car. She got hurt. She called Morgan & Morgan. Now my car's down at the body shop getting fixed. And, you know, Toyota still hasn't responded back. Now they want $9,000 to paint the whole car. So it's crazy.
Yeah, car. I mean,
coming off of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, it used to be, you know, if you're old enough to remember Earl Schreib and the $29.95 paint jobs, you know, it's you know that doesn't exist anymore. But
protector.
Yeah. You know, car paint. You know, I remember and it's been, you know, out of 40 years since I bought a gallon of car paint, and I think it was like $60, and I was shocked how expensive it was. Now you spend, you know, thousands of dollars on a gallon of paint.
Right, and I bought this car used in October with 32,000 miles on it, and Toyota hasn't gotten back to me. That no one has. Now, when I was at the body shop, they're like, it's going to cost about $9,000 to paint the whole thing because it's coming off so bad. I'm like, yeah, I know. Nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. So, how much of the insurance is going to cover that cost?
Well, they're not going to paint the whole car right now. I just got an estimate on that, but to take care of the hit and run damage, it's going to that other person's insurance coverage. It's going to cost $5,800. Yeah.
But you were okay?
Yeah, I was fine. I pulled over for a fire truck, and the person was texting, and then after that, they just, instead of stop, they just gave me the finger and took off. But, you know, thank God that they had the traffic light camera, and that girl in the car also got hurt. The passenger did, because she called Morgan & Morgan. Now it's a big scene, and they have to go to court in August because of all this. It's an injuries lawsuit and everything now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my wife, you know, back in 2015 got into a car crash. It was her fault, even though she might not always agree, but it was her fault. And but you know, it happened on a Friday afternoon. The woman who technically hit her, first thing she asked for was an ambulance. She didn't appear to be hurt, but she wanted an ambulance. And by Monday morning, we received a letter from her attorney.
Oh, jeez.
So you know that she got some coaching along the way. I can't get mail delivered that fast.
Same here. I can't
Yeah.
either, and it just happened. But ever since this
Yeah.
happened, I just say give you the update. So hopefully we can resolve the issue within a month or two.
Yeah, I know. With mine, they have to commit within a year, and it went a full year of not knowing what was going on. And at one point, I got a letter from my insurance company that said this claim could possibly be outside of your limits of your insurance. And I'm like, geesh, what's that mean? And I'm like, does that mean $1 outside my limits or $1 million outside my limits? Come to find out, she was looking for the maximum the insurance would pay off, even though I think, her total expenses, including being paid for not going to work, and it was soft tissue injuries, so bruising. And I think it was, $30,000 or something like that, but she was looking for, I don't know, $350,000 or something. But it took a year to be settled, and every time envelope would come by, and for a year went on, and it's like I'm afraid to do anything because what are they going to come after? So it can be sort of pretty nerve wracking. So I appreciate everything you're going through.
I'll keep you up. If I hear anything in the next couple months, I'll keep you updated. But hopefully, they get this car painted and take it from there.
There you go. Okay, thanks, Rusty.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye bye. Myself and a neighbor went to the Audrain Museum. Neither of us had ever been there before. It's right down in, if you know Newport at all, it's right in downtown Newport. It's next to the Tennis Hall of Fame. It's a smaller museum, kind of Lars Anderson-ish. What's pretty interesting, though, that's the one that Jay Leno seems to have something to do with. Donald Osborne is the CEO of the museum, and
is that the one right near the Newport Mansions?
Yeah, it's closer to the Newport Mansions than there's one in actually Portsmouth, but this is the one in
it's in Newport,
downtown
right?
Newport.
Yeah, downtown Newport, but it's right on the edge.
Yep.
If you were to go down that street, it'd be right at the Mansions. Okay,
exactly.
I got you. Yeah, I've walked by that one and looked in the window and said, John Paul would like that place.
And what's interesting is they probably have 20 cars on display, but they rotate the cars every 3 months. And apparently the family who owns the museum has 450 cars in 3 warehouses, 2 in Rhode Island and 1 in Virginia. So it's one of those places you go every 3 months to see what's new. This was a display of colors, so different color cars. But they had some pretty cool stuff, everything from a Lambretta scooter to a Volkswagen pickup truck sort of thing, a dual cab pickup truck with a Cyclops headlight, a Bugatti, kind of in two-tone, a Lamborghini off-road vehicle, sort of. It was sort of aggressively built to drive through the desert, which I thought was sort of interesting. But they had a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of regular stuff. They had a nice 1971 Ford Mustang GT. But it's one of those places it's not a place you're going to spend hours and hours. So you go with the idea you'll go there, you'll hang around Newport, you'll do some stuff, and go check out the museum. I'm going to try to get Donald Osborne on the program between now and Newport Car Week, which is the big Newport festival, which usually takes place in early October. So sometime between now and then, we'll try to get him on the show and talk about what's going on in the event. Where are we going, Jesse? Where we didn't write it down?
Tom from Pembroke.
Tom from Pembroke. Tom, we got a couple minutes.
Hey, good morning, John. I just
Good
had
morning.
a battery question.
Sure.
I bought a battery for my daughter from one of the chains there about a year ago. Unfortunately, it wasn't AAA, sorry, but it was dead already within a year. When I looked at the battery, the date sticker was, when we got it, was almost 2 years old.
Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't know if there's a time frame.
It gets a little tricky because I mean, for instance, at AAA, we rotate through the batteries every 6 months, so we don't keep anything on the shelf more than 6 months. Walmart, for instance, their batteries they keep them up to a year, and then they rotate them off there. I bought a battery for a motorcycle once from a auto parts store, and it was I think it was 3 years old when I opened it out of the box, and I was like, oh, come on, really? Yeah, I mean, the longer it sits on the shelf, it takes away some life, and the only thing that will bring kind of a battery like that sometimes, maximize the life is really, really slow charging, like a quarter of an amp charger to bring it up really as slow as possible. And but now at the end of being only a year old, hopefully it's got some warranty in it.
Oh yeah, they gave us a new one for free, but it did work for the year, and then it just died. That unfortunately, shelf life can be tough on a battery. The old days of batteries being dry, where you would go in and then you'd add the electrolyte to them, and they were basically fresh as soon as you did that. These are all set, and they start to degrade right out of the as soon as they leave the assembly line. So I tried to tell my daughter that. She thought I was from a different era.
No, you're right.
What does AAA do with the dead batteries?
We send them back to the manufacturer, where who knows what they do. They put new tags on them, probably. I don't know what they do with them. So we just I know what happens to some of them. We have Interstate batteries right now, and I know Interstate will take them back and they'll tag them as eco batteries or econo batteries, and then they'll resell them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because my next door neighbor in Florida, he has a boat repair place, and he's got an Interstate battery dealer that comes in, and I had to jumpstart his truck one day, and I looked and I said, Dave, what are you doing with the AAA battery? And he goes, I don't have a AAA battery. I bought that from the Interstate guy. And he goes, oh, yeah, no, that's right. He had a AAA battery. He was marking them as econo, and I bought it for like $50. I'm like, oh, that's a good deal. Okay. Yeah, so that's what happens to some of them.
Yeah. Hey,
okay.
Did you ever have the owner of McLaren on again? That was a good interview.
I'm not sure. I'll have Danny DeSantis. We'll have to check on that. Hey, we got to get going. That music means we're out of time. But thanks for calling in.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
All right, take care. Hey, that music means we need to go. I want to thank Aaron Schneider from Ford Pro for joining us. And until next week, make sure you wear your seatbelt, drive safely, be good to your car, and if you see an emergency vehicle by the side of the road, slow down and move over. It saves lives. Talk to you all next week. Bye-bye.